We are going to talk about the nitrogen cycle, and before that, just a simple reminder for the use of the nitrogen. Nitrogen is essential for us to produce a protein and also the DNA. Okay, so what is the component? Okay, in the DNA, of course, A, T, G, and C, the nitrogenous base. Okay, remember the base. Okay, but of course, when we talk about DNA, we also need to talk about RNA. Okay, so ATGC, in the RNA we have U already as well, not already. Okay, so ATGCU. Okay, at least the nitrogenous base, you need to recall this concept. Okay, and also the other reminder is that even in the atmosphere there is a lot of nitrogen gas. Okay, in the nitrogen gas, that's the N2 gas. Okay, and in this part, if you are a chemistry student, okay, you need to understand. But if you are not a chemistry student, try to understand it. But if you do not understand, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so for the nitrogen gas, okay, that's something you all need to know. You all need to know is that most organisms cannot make use of it directly. So the key point is that just most of them cannot use. That means some of them may be able to use. Okay, so you will know which type of organism can use the nitrogen gas directly. Okay, but in this time, I'm now talking about the explanation why we cannot use the nitrogen directly. Okay, it's because for the nitrogen, okay, it actually it is chemistry knowledge. Okay, because the N2, that's the N triple bond. Okay, there are 3 covalent bond. Okay, so it is very strong. Okay, to break them down. Okay, but some organisms, okay, they are able to do so. Okay, but at least you know that. Okay, most organisms cannot do it. Okay, so that's why we cannot obtain the nitrogen in the atmosphere directly. We need to obtain it through the nitrogen cycle. So that's why we need to learn it. Okay, so in this part, we also use the logic. We also use the basic 3 steps. Okay, what I talk about in the carbon cycle. Okay, removal and return. Okay, if we do not die, okay, is it possible to remove and return already? Okay, if not, so after we die, after we do some ejection or excretion, there is some waste. Okay, so any decomposer, any bacteria will take part in the cycle. And then the last step is where is the human? Where are they? Okay, where are we all? Okay, so for this part, okay, we also use the 3 types of color pen. Okay, red ball pen, green ball pen, and then blue ball pen. Okay, so to indicate the removal, return, and also the transfer. But in this nitrogen cycle, okay, according to the notes, okay, I attach it. So now in this time, when we talk about removal or return, okay, I'm not talking about the atmosphere as the standard point. Okay, I use the soil as the standard point. Removal from the soil, okay, and then return to the soil. Okay, I use the soil as the standard point. Okay, so this time it will be the standard point. So you may think, no, Mr. Leung, if I would like to use the atmospheric nitrogen as the standard point, is it okay? Of course it's okay. Okay, so that's why you need to shift the position of the red or a green or a blue ball pen. Okay, the color. So I use the soil first. Okay, so for the nitrogen cycle, okay, give you some psychological preparation, is that it's a bit difficult. Okay, more difficult than the carbon cycle, because there are different types of bacteria. They will get involved in this cycle. Okay, so you may think that it's a torture to memorize so many names of the bacteria. Okay, but actually the logic is simple. Okay, as simple as the carbon cycle, the logic. Okay, but it just involves more organisms, okay, in it. So for the nitrate, okay, in the soil, okay, so I use the red ball pen, okay, as the removal as well. So the first part, removal of the nitrate, okay, of course we need the absorption, okay, by the plant. The plant can absorb, okay, the nitrate. But remember that if we only talk about absorb, is not enough. Okay, we also need to talk about assimilation. Okay, uptake and use. Okay, refer to the carbon cycle. What is the meaning of assimilation, uptake and use? Okay, so apart from this, okay, we have another concept. Okay, we learn it in chapter 9 as well. That's what we call the leaching. Okay, leaching, you can refer to the notes. Okay, is that leaching? That's a process. Okay, the nitrate, they are washed away by the rainwater. Why they are so easily to be washed away? Because they are water soluble. Okay, so what we learn in chapter 9 is that, okay, so for example, we have a farmland, okay, and then we apply some inorganic fertilizer. For example, the inorganic fertilizer, okay, it contains nitrate. Okay, it contains nitrate, but actually, okay, nitrates or the inorganic fertilizer, okay, the advantage is that you have a bottle of inorganic fertilizer, and then you add some water, and then shake, and then you can apply on the farmland already. Okay, very easy way to use. But the disadvantage is that because those minerals, okay, they are water soluble, so they can be easily washed away by the rainwater. Okay, so if heavy rain, so they may be washed away. So that's the process, okay, of leaching. Okay, have the heavy rain, okay, and then wash away. So in the chapter 9, after the nitrate is washed away, okay, any consequence, okay, so actually we always say that besides or near to the farmland, okay, there may be a river or a stream, and in the stream we have some algae. Okay, so for the algae, they will be very happy because you gave them so many food, so many nitrate for them. Okay, so actually even we say that green plants, okay, it can also be the algae in the stream as well. Okay, so for the algae, they are so happy, obtain so much nitrate to produce the protein for themselves, so they will have a rapid growth, okay, reproduction, something like this. So that's why it will cause the problem. Okay, that's the red tide. Okay, red tide. So the red tide, the algae, they may release some toxin, okay, to kill the aquatic organism in the stream. Okay, and also what we need to say is that the increase of the algae population, okay, that's a terms we need to learn, okay, because it will appear again in the elective to apply ecology. Okay, so this term is eutrophication. Okay, eutrophication. Okay, what is eu? That means good. Okay, that means good. Okay, you know the term. What is eugene? Okay, what is eugene? Eugene, that means good gene. Okay, so good what? Okay, trophic. Okay, you learn it in the food chain. We talk about trophic level. Trophic level, it means feeding, okay, or eating. So that means eutrophication. Cation is just make it as a noun. Okay, so eutrophication, that means good eating or good feeding. Who has such good eating? The algae. They are so happy to have so much nitrate for them to absorb. Okay, so that's a leaching. So after that, okay, I use the blue ball pen. Okay, plant, okay, they will be eaten by the animal. Okay, of course feeding. Okay, not only feeding, more also assimilation. Okay, so that's something you need to know. Okay, so in this concept, okay, so think about it. If the organism, they do not die, okay, if the organism, they do not die, is it possible for us to so-called return the nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen or the protein, okay, go back to the ecosystem? No, we cannot see the cycling yet. Okay, we just see that the nitrate is absorbed by the plant, and then the protein, they are transferred to the animal, and that's all. If we do not die, okay, so think about the second step is that if we really die, or we produce some waste, so we need the decomposer, we need the bacteria, right? Okay, so think about that. So for the plant and for the animal, we die, we must die. Okay, so death. Okay, so apart from death, also we have the excretion, okay, and the ejection, and for the plant, excretion. Okay, so for this part, we die lah. Okay, and then we need to we need some bacteria to help us, okay, to decompose ourselves, okay, our body. So that's why we have the other terms. Okay, we have many bacteria to mention. Okay, but don't worry, we talk about them one by one. Okay, the first type of bacteria, okay, is the putrefying bacteria, and they are responsible for the putrefaction. Putrefaction actually is it has the meaning, okay, decomposition, or breaking down, okay, or decay. Okay, so actually this process is putrefaction, and what we need is the putrefying bacteria. Okay, putrefaction. So in this concept, okay, putrefying bacteria will break down the nitrogenous waste, okay, or the protein in the dead body, okay, to form ammonia or the ammonium compound, okay, NH3 or NH4 plus compound. Okay, so for this part, okay, mention it first, NO4 plus. Okay, and then for the next part is that we try to return, okay, the nitrate go back to the soil lah. So we have the other concept. Okay, so that's the right, it is return, okay, so because it's return, so I should use the rubber pen. Okay, I use the rubber pen again. Okay, return. Okay, so return, how can we return it? Okay, so return, that's the nitrification. Okay, nitrification. So that's the point here. Okay, for the nitrification, we have nitrifying bacteria, okay, to do it. And in this part, what I would like to talk about is that it can help us to transfer convert the ammonia or the ammonium compound to form nitrate in soil, but there must be some criteria, is that the soil, there must be oxygen. Okay, there must be a certain level of oxygen. Why? Take a look here. Okay, no matter you are chemistry student or not, I think you are able to realize the fact is that nitrate, the chemical form is NO3 minus, okay, and the ammonium compound, the form is NH4 plus. Ignore the charge, okay, if you are not chemistry student, that's okay, that's absolutely fine. But what I want to ask you is that any difference between the ammonium compound and the nitrate, okay, according to their chemical formula, and you will see that ammonium compound, NH, nitrogen and hydrogen. For the nitrate, nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, so the concept is that why nitrification, it needs oxygen, because, okay, in this part we use the oxygen to substitute the H to become O. So that means in this part we need oxygen. So how can we describe this process? Actually is a aerobic process. We need oxygen. So for this part, okay, in other words, for the putrefaction, NH4 plus, okay, actually this process, okay, we do not need oxygen. Okay, so it is an anaerobic process. Okay, we do not need oxygen. Okay, we do not need. So for these two processes, okay, they are always to be compared. Okay, so how can we compare it? Is that if for the nitrification, it needs oxygen, okay? And then the question will ask you or to tell you that if the soil, it is waterlogged, okay? What is waterlogged? That means full of water. So much water, full of water. So what does it imply? It implies that the gas content is very, very low. Okay, so of course in this part, because we are talking about oxygen, that means the O2 level, the O2 content is very low as well. Okay, so if the soil is waterlogged, which reaction will be greatly affected? Which reaction will be greatly reduced or slowed down in the waterlogged soil? Low oxygen level, and then you know that should be nitrification, because this process, it needs oxygen, but in the waterlogged soil, lack of oxygen, sorry, this process will be very, very slow, or even stop. But this putrefaction, that's okay, go ahead. Okay, so that's something you need to be able to compare. Okay, and then after that, after we talk about the removal and return, okay, after we talk about the dead body, okay, and some bacteria to help us, okay, to break down ourselves, okay, and release the nitrogen out. So any other bacteria we need to talk about, okay? We need to talk about one more bacteria, okay? So this bacteria, okay, is what we call the nitrogen fixing bacteria. So we have the nitrogen fixation, this process, okay? So you can refer to the page 5, okay, to take a look here. Nitrogen fixation, we use the bacteria, nitrogen fixing bacteria, okay? So in this bacteria, okay, where do they live? They can either live freely in the soil or symbiotically in the root nodules of the leguminous plant. That means the beans, okay, the pear plants, or okay. So for the beans plant and for the bacteria, they can live together, okay. So that's why I would like to talk about in page 8, okay. I would like to talk about this interaction as well. This interaction, okay, the general term is symbiosis, but the specific term is that mutualism. That means both of the species, they can get benefit from each other if they live together, okay. So for the nitrogen fixing bacteria, okay, they live in the root nodule, okay, of the beans plant, leguminous plant, okay. So they live in the root nodule, so that's why they can obtain the organic food, water, and the shelter, somewhere to live, okay. So that's the good thing from the plant to the bacteria. So how about from the plant, okay, what benefit can they get? They can obtain the nitrogenous compound for growth, okay. That means the protein, okay. But how and why, okay? So now you can know that the bacteria actually, they can convert the atmospheric nitrogen to nitrogen compound, okay, and then the nitrogen compound can be used, okay, for the plant, okay, to produce protein, okay. And then the idea actually is that the symbiotic bacteria, they will export the nitrogen compound to the plant for growth. The idea actually, okay, we call to this, okay. So for example, that's the root, and that's the root nodule, okay, root nodule, okay, root nodule, okay, that's the root nodule. And then think about the bacteria, very, very small one, and then I draw a big one for you. Now that's also the bacteria, okay. So they may live in the soil freely, and also they can live in the root nodule as well, okay. So the bacteria, if they live in the root nodule, okay, or even they live freely in the soil, the mechanism is the same. They absorb the nitrogen gas in the atmosphere, that means in the soil, okay, and then they do some processes, okay, and then they will export the NH4 compound, okay, that means maybe the ammonia or ammonium compound to the soil. Go back to the soil and then go to the soil, okay. Do they produce the ammonium compound for the plants, Mr. Leung? Okay, no, they produce the ammonium compound and export it to the soil, and then that's not for the plant, Mr. Leung. You're wrong. No, I'm correct, because for the ammonium compound, you learn it already. Okay, ammonium compound. Okay, after the nitrification, actually we need the nitrifying bacteria to convert the ammonium compound to the nitrate in the soil. Okay, so that means actually the nitrogen fixation, the process should be the atmospheric nitrogen. They are converted to the ammonium compound, and in the soil we have nitrifying bacteria to convert the ammonium compound to become nitrate again, and then the plant can absorb it. Okay, so actually that's the real process. Okay, so you may ask, Mr. Leung, so actually why do you draw this line from the atmospheric nitrogen to the protein in the green plant? Okay, it's not the real case. Okay, but yes, it's not the real case. But why do I draw this line? Because that's the case of mutualism. Okay, that's the case of mutualism. The nitrogen fixing bacteria, they live with the leguminous plants together. So that's why I draw one line to link them together, to link the nitrogen fixing bacteria and the plants together. Okay, it's a convenient way to express the idea. Okay, I do not want to make a big circle and then to tell this idea. Okay, it will make you feel maybe so complicated and complex. Okay, so that's something you need to know. Okay, and also from the paragraph, and then you know that after death, the dead body of the bacteria and the plant, okay, actually the waste, okay, or the compound, okay, they will be decomposed, okay, and return to the soil, okay, by putrefaction and nitrification. Okay, so that's for the removal. Okay, and then the last part, okay, one thing I want you to know is that, okay, we are not talking about lining, okay, and now that's why we are talking about it. Okay, so for the lining is a way, okay, to return the nitrogen, okay, to the nitrates in the soil. Okay, so actually it's talking about the return. Okay, so that's the red line. Okay, so that's lining. Okay, so the lining is that for chemistry student you need to know it, because the lining, okay, the light energy is just so powerful. It can break the bond, break the covalent bond, okay, in the N2 gas. So that's why it can help us to produce the nitrate. Okay, and of course for the non-chemistry student, okay, you may think that it's so magical, whoa, Mr. Leung. Okay, actually what is the concept is that imagine it is the ground, okay, and then it is the cloud, okay, and then we have the N2, okay, and also in the atmosphere we have O2, something like this. Okay, so once lining, okay, boom, of course lining without sound, that's the thunder. Okay, 閃電, okay, lining, shop, okay, so when the lining, okay, it will break the bond, the bonding of the nitrogen, okay, and then the nitrogen, it will react with the oxygen to form the nitrate. Okay, nitrate is NO3 minus, and then because it's minus, it's the iron, right? Okay, it's the iron, so that's why they can dissolve in the rain. Okay, and then the rainfall, woo, it will bring the nitrate go back to the ground. Okay, so that's something you need to know. Okay, that's the lining. And one more thing is that where is the human activities? Okay, where is the human activities? So for the human activities, we have the industrial process. Okay, nitrogen combined with hydrogen, okay, to form the ammonia or the ammonium compound. Okay, so that's why the industrial process should be here. Okay, it's also a way to remove. Okay, remove of the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, so that's the industrial process. So actually, for the chemistry student, if you know this process, it should be the Haber process, right? Okay, so N plus the hydrogen, okay, H2. So for this part, is it complete, Mr. Leung? Okay, finish? Not yet, because take a look here. Okay, we have the removal lah. Okay, and then we also have some lining. Okay, to take away the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay. But somehow, if we keep extracting, take away, okay, the nitrogen, okay, in the atmosphere, okay, so you may think that it's impossible, Mr. Leung, okay. So later on, the atmospheric nitrogen will decrease, okay, lower and lower, okay. So how can you say that is equilibrium? How can you say that is dynamic equilibrium or relatively stable? Okay, so that's why we need to introduce the last step. That's the denitrification, and we need the denitrifying bacteria to convert the nitrate to the gaseous nitrogen. Okay, so that's the final way. Okay, so in this part we are talking removal. Okay, remove the nitrate. Okay, so that's the denitrification. Okay, and then at this moment you will know that it's a cycle already. Finally it becomes a cycle. Without this denitrification, it's not a cycle. Something go out, okay, and then just being transferred, and then take away, and then transfer. Okay, but if we have the denitrification, they will come back to the atmosphere again. Okay, so that's why denitrification is our last step. Okay, so according to the basic concept, 3 steps: removal and return. If we die, okay, any bacteria or the decomposer can help us, and any human activities are involved. Okay, so that's something you need to know. Okay, so after that, take a look at the question. Okay, so for the question is that it's talking about the flow of the nitrogen in the ecosystem. Okay, also we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, from nitrogen gas to the protein in the pea plants. Okay, and also in the ammonium salt in the soil and nitrate in the soil. Okay, so also it's talking about 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the process? So for the good habit, okay, remember, okay, the label them first, identify them first. Okay, nitrogen gas to become protein, okay, in the plants. So that's why number 1, it should be the nitrogen fixation. Okay, and then from the protein, okay, to become the soil in the ammonia salt. Okay, actually that's why we die. Okay, we die, and then the dead body, okay, they are decomposed. So that's why it's the putrefaction. Okay, decomposition. And for the number 3, okay, ammonium salt, okay, to become nitrate, ammonium compound, okay, to become nitrate. Okay, so that's the nitrification. Okay, and then number 4 is that nitrate to become nitrogen gas, our last step, denitrification. Okay, so the very important step, okay, for you to identify 1, 2, 3, 4 first. And then the question is that which process will reduce the fertility of the soil? Fertility, that means the abundance of the minerals, okay, the nutrients in the soil. So actually 1, 2, 3, 4 okay, nitrogen fixation, okay, from the gas to make some nutrients to the soil, okay, and then for the plant, okay, Putrefaction, the dead body, okay, they are the dead body, they are decomposed, okay, to make the ammonium salt. Nitrification, ammonium salt to convert to be the nitrate also in the soil, and the soil, okay, the nitrate, okay, they convert to the nitrogen gas. That means the nitrate, they are extract from the soil. So that means number 4 will be our answer, okay, because the nitrate, they are converted to nitrogen gas, okay. And then the second one, which statement is correct, okay? Bacteria involved in process 1, okay, nitrogen fixation, provides carbohydrate to the plant. Of course, this part must be wrong, okay? Actually, what do they supply? It should be the nitrogenous compound, right? Okay, they produce some nitrogenous compound, for example, ammonium compound or ammonia. They export it to the soil and then let the nitrifying bacteria to make some nitrate for the plant, okay. So that's why, okay, it's not the carbohydrate, okay. On the other hand, it should be the plant provide carbohydrate to the bacteria, okay, according to the concept of the mutualism, okay. You learn it already, okay. So it's wrong, okay. And then for the option B, okay, option B involves option B, bacteria involved in process 2 are saprophytic, feed on dead material, non-living material. Process 2, putrefaction. It seems to be correct. Okay, so I put a small tick and then take a look 3 and 4. Okay, process 3 involves denitrifying bacteria. Of course, it's wrong because process 3 is nitrification. What we need should be nitrifying bacteria, okay. And then process 4, it is denitrification, and it say that it involves nitrifying bacteria is also wrong. It should be denitrifying bacteria, okay. So it's also wrong. So that's why the answer is B, okay. So that's something you need to know. And one more thing I would like to mention is that we go back to the page 5, okay, and talk about the nitrogen fixation again. In this part, we know that the nitrogen fixing bacteria, they can live, okay, together with the leguminous plant. That means the beans, okay, the pea plants, okay. So that's why it's related to your human diet, the chapter of human diet, okay. We say that, if for the vegetarian, okay, they do not eat meat at all, so how can they obtain the proteins? Okay, eat beans lah, okay, because for the beans, it contains a lot of protein. The protein content is very, very high, okay. At that moment, you do not know the reason, okay. You just know that the beans contain high level of protein, but you don't know why. Now you know the reason why the beans they contain a high level of protein, okay. That's why do revision all chapters together, because we are biology, okay. Any chapters, okay, they are correlated, okay, interdependent, okay. So we do the revision all together, okay. So after that, we talk about the last part, okay. So that's the role of the decomposer, okay, in the cycling of the material, okay. So remember that the organic matter, actually they are water insoluble. For example, our dead body, okay, or our feces, okay, actually they are not water soluble, so that's why the plants, okay, cannot absorb it directly, okay. So we need to break them down, okay. Break them down. It's just like the concept of digestion, right? Okay, so we need to break them down, but now we are not using our digestive system. We use the decomposer, okay. They are saprophytic bacteria and the fungi to convert the organic matter, okay, into simple inorganic matter. Remember what I say is that for the organic matter, we always describe that as complex, and then they will become simple, okay. And then the simple inorganic matter, they can dissolve in the water and then absorbed by the plant, okay. If it is water insoluble, it cannot be absorbed, but if it is water soluble and dissolved in water, they can be absorbed. Okay, so that's why the importance is that without the decomposer, okay, actually the organic substance, okay, in our body, okay, so they will be locked in the dead body, okay, or in the feces or those excreta, okay. So finally the organic matter, okay, or those material, the carbon, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, okay, they will not be released to the soil again. So that's why the plants cannot absorb it. Okay, and finally, all the materials, they will be used up. So how can we say cycling of material is impossible? But now we have decomposer, so the cycling of material becomes possible. Okay, and then for this part, without decomposer, okay, organic matter will be locked up. So that's why finally the producer cannot absorb the inorganic substance. So finally, the number of producer and then the number of consumer, okay, in the system will decrease. Okay, so that's something you know first. The producer, they cannot absorb those inorganic substance to build up themselves, to grow, to repair. So producer will die. So producer die, and then the consumer do not have sufficient food, so the consumer also die. Okay, and then primary consumer die, and then secondary consumer dies, and then the tertiary consumer dies. Okay, so all of us will die. Okay, so in this part, for the question, okay, some question they will ask you, okay, a very stupid farmer, okay, it says that, I'm so afraid that there are so many bacteria in the soil wall. Okay, so for the farmland, okay, for the soil, okay, he adds some chemicals. Okay, he adds some chemicals for what? For killing the bacteria. Okay, killing all the bacteria, okay, in the soil. Okay, because, okay, he is afraid of the bacteria, okay, to make some harmful effect to the plant. Okay, but of course we know that some bacteria, they are good, some bacteria, they are bad. Okay, but for the decomposer, why, they are the good guys. Okay, so if you use the chemical to kill all the bacteria, okay, so the question may ask you, what will be the fertility of the soil, or what will be the growth situation of the plants, or what will be the population of the producer, of the consumer in the farmland later on. Okay, so you need to know that no decomposer at all. Okay, the plant or the producer cannot absorb the inorganic substance. Okay, due to there is no cycling of the material at all. Okay, so and then producer die, consumer die. Okay, so at least for after this question or after the nitrogen cycle, okay, that's something I want to remind you again and again. Remember to use the step to construct your own cycle. Okay, don't try to use your own memory to memorize all the things. Now, of course, if you are able to do so, I am happy. Okay, but if you are not, okay, please try to use your brain, okay, to think about it, to analyze. Okay, we are scientists, we are not a machine. Okay, think about it. Okay, so that's something I would like to talk about, the carbon cycle and the nitrogen cycle. Any question, please feel free to ask me. Bye bye.